everybody, this is Preeti from It's a Pretty World. Welcome to my channel. This is my very first video and I'll be making 2 cards today. Hope you enjoy it. Today I'm making a card using the Happy Birthday large die from Stamp Market. I'm also using a watercolor paper from Tim Holtz and the Prima watercolor palette in Pastel Dreams. To start, I just spritzed my water paper to start it, and then also spritz the watercolor palette so I can get the ink moving easily. Now the idea of making this panel with watercolor is to create a very bright and cheery spring-like clouds and skies. It's almost like making the galaxy skies that we all make, just that it's not the darker sky but more cheery and bright sky. So I'm starting off with a very light layer of colors. You do notice I'm not diluting the colors or adding any water to the palette. I'm just dipping my pen in water, my brush in water, and going directly into the paint pans. And the reason is because these are pastel colors. They are naturally quite light to start off with, so just adding more water onto the brush is more than enough than making another little palette. So here you go. The other thing is I need to layer these colors over each other. So while you want to layer them, you want to make sure that you're drying the panel between each layering. So I did dry the panel, and here I am going back again into the same colors again and again, laying colors after colors. The one thing you need to keep in mind when you're doing something like this is to make sure you're putting the same colors over the original color that you had laid down onto your paper, because you don't want to create mud. For example, you don't want to take yellow and put it on a violet place where it becomes brown, or vice versa. You don't want to do that, would create mud. You want to keep it pleasing. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit of gouache, the Arteza gouache, and putting it onto my glass mat here, and I'm taking very watered brush, very liquidy watered brush, and I'm just putting light lines, or almost like wavy lines, making it resemble like clouds in between those pretty colors in the sky. So I'm just laying it down there. Again, I'll be doing this in multiple layers until I can see that it's coming to life. So I'm just doing it over and over again. You know, it's out here in New York, it's dreary outside, it's cold, it's snowing. It just is miserable outside. When I look at the sky, it's just dark and gloomy. But I just feel like I needed something to be cheery and bright and something that would make me happy. So I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to make my own little cheery clouds and cheery skies. I just remember Bob Ross, one of the painter on the TV in the past, one of his sayings, he would say that this is your world, and it is your creation, and find freedom in your canvas. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is just finding my freedom to create my own little cheery spring sky. All right, so I'm going to just leave you for a little bit. I'm going to finish coloring and I'll be back soon. Alright, so now the coloring is all done, and I'm bringing back that same white gouache again, and I'm putting a little bit onto my ink stamping block and diluting it with water. I'll use a new toothbrush that I have in my art room just for this purpose. I'm going to load it with that same gouache white paint and spritz it all over the panel. And then I'm also going to spritz it directly from the block as well. Once I'm done with that, I am going to do the same thing with a gold paint, which is from the Gansai Tambi watercolor palette, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to load it over my stamp block, and I'm going to dilute it with water and do the same thing, splatter it all over my panel. Just to give it a little bit extra shimmer. I think we all need a little bit of shimmer, don't we? So I'm just doing that, and after that I'm taking this glitter sparkly glitter spray, and I'm going to spray it all over, but I'm not going to do it here. I took it out and I spritzed it, and I'm back again, and you can see all that sparkle, pretty sparkle on that piece. Now I'm going to take this die that says HBD, and I'm going to lay it right in the center of the panel. I want to make sure that I'm not cutting the die wonky or anything like that, because I don't want to waste the negative part of this die cut, because I want to use it for the next card. So making sure it's cut right in the center. So I've die cut the piece, and I'm separating it and slowly removing the sticky tape from it. And now I'm going to take these pieces, and I'm going to lay it onto a white note card. Now this is a landscape note card, a standard note card, and I'm going to place the letters H, B, and D onto it, centered to the note card. And as I was looking at it, I was like, okay, no, this doesn't look really it wasn't looking appealing to me, so I decided to take this embossing folder from Memory Box and do an embossing over it of a polka dot embossing folder, and I embossed it. It looked much better. So now I'm trying to adhere. I want to adhere the letters onto my panel, but I want to make sure it's straight. So I bring that negative panel back onto my main white panel, and I temporarily adhered it with a washi tape. And I'm going to add some foam adhesive to these letters, and I'm going to pop them up right in the middle so I can get a good I can make sure that my letters are adhered perfectly in the center of the white panel. Here I am removing all the adhesive backing, the protective backing, not the adhesive backing, sorry. And I slowly remove the negative again, and there you go. Now you have the letters centered very well. Now I'm taking an older stamp set from Mama Elephant. I don't seem to remember. It says happy birthday. I will have all the products that I have used in this project in the description below, so you can know what I have used. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this twice using my Misty and VersaFine Onyx black ink. And the reason I want to use my Misty is because, one, it's a solid stamp, so I want to make sure that I am transferring the ink completely, and it's a solid black ink, so I want to make sure it's done really well. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to cut this using my guillotine cutter, and leaving a thin white border around it, and there you can see a piece of it, one of the sentiments. So now I'm going to adhere the sentiment onto, oh no, before that I decided to adhere the panel, the main panel, onto a white note card. This is a side folding note card. Again, it's a standard note card, and after I've adhered this, I will now adhere the sentiment to the not to the panel, but above the die cut words. I used a little bit of foam tape behind my sentiment, and I'm gonna place it right there. And after I'm done with that, I also decided it needed some more sparkle. Like, it didn't have enough sparkle already, but hey, it's never too old not to use it. So here I go. I'm using some more sparkles. These are some sequins. I think it's called the moonstone sequin. I'm not very sure. Again, I'll have everything in the description below. So I'm just going to adhere it randomly all around the panel. Okay, that's the first card. And for the second card, I'm going to do the same thing. Take the negative side of the die cut panel, and I'm going to adhere that to the note card with foam adhesive, because I just wanted to pop up a little bit from the base note card. So there we go. I'm making sure it's lined up and it's adhered to it. And once I've adhered that, I want to make sure that I place those center pieces exactly where it should be. So I'm just kind of getting myself a visual as to where it should be through the die. So once I have that idea, or where it's going to be, I am just cutting some adhesives and adding it to it, and then putting it in the center of the letters. So that's for the letter D. And I do the same thing for the letter B. Sorry about my hand covering up your visual, but I'm going to turn it so you can see it. There you go. So you can see it better. And also, I think my hand was getting in my way as well. So I just decided to use a tweezer to, there you go. So now it's all adhered, and it looks like a letter B now. I'm doing the same thing with the sentiment. Here it's me trying to figure out where to put the sentiment piece. Trust me guys, it is a process for me. Nothing is easy. It takes me hours to make the video, though it's only 13 minutes, but honestly it took me more than an hour just to do this, because it takes me a long time to figure out what I want to do and where I want to put. And so anyway, I decided to do the same way as I did for the last card, and I added the sentiment, and I'm doing the same thing, adding some sprinkles of some blingy thingies all around the card, just to complete it and make it look beautiful. I'm using the Nuvo liquid adhesive, by the way. So here are the two finished cards that we made, and I'm so happy that you stopped by and you could see. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and hope to see you soon.